When the first batch of 8055 destroyers served in the North Sea Fleet and the South Sea Fleet, the second batch of 055 destroyers became the focus of attention. East China Sea Fleet will soon usher in the first 10,000 tons of large drive. The ship emblem, number and name of the ship has been exposed. The Navy's 3 fleets are equipped with new 10,000 tons of large drive. The first batch of 055 destroyers built a total of 8 ships, 101 ships to 104 ships serving in the North Sea Fleet, a destroyer detachment, 105 ships to 108 ships serving in the Southern Theater of War Navy, a destroyer detachment. The huge pressure of combat readiness of the East China Sea Fleet, but did not get a share of one ship. East China Sea Fleet directly facing the Taiwan Strait and the East China Sea. In the national unification task to undertake the fight against the enemy and cover the landing forces on the island of the dual task, the requirements of the naval vessels is technically reliable, the formation of combat effectiveness of a short period of time. 052D guided missile destroyer to meet the East China Sea Fleet's combat readiness requirements. The 055 destroyer technology span is larger, is China's first type of fourth-generation surface combatant ships, so the first to meet the combat readiness pressure is smaller other naval fleet. For the subsequent mass installation to lay a solid foundation to be 8055 destroyer service, the Navy has fully mastered the 055 destroyer rapid formation of combat effectiveness of the method and the road. For the East China Sea Fleet to replace the 055 destroyer has become the inevitable choice of the Navy. The second batch, the total of the 9th 055 destroyer emblem has been exposed. Port number 109, ship name Dongguan ship. The last generation of Dongguan ship is 051H1G type guided missile frigate. Serving in the South China Sea Fleet, a patrol ship detachment, the ship is a 1,600-ton first-generation guided missile frigate improved, a total of 6 built, mainly used for the South China Sea waters patrol mission. This time, the 055 destroyer again named Dongguan ship. The new ship is a 13,000-ton displacement of the latest type of domestic guided missile destroyer. The Chinese Navy in a short period of time equipment construction has made great progress. The second batch of 055 destroyers of the 9th and 10th ship has been launched. The 11th ship will also be launched in the near future. The 14th ship of the segment has been exposed. The number of newly built, 10,000 tons of large drive is quite considerable. Now look, 109 ships, 110 ships, 111 ships and 112 ships, and other 4055 destroyers, will be delivered to the East China Sea Fleet to the naval forces to bring real progress in combat power. Recently, Nanchang, the first ship of the 055 destroyer, fired 4 consecutive rounds of Haihonki 9B long-range ship-to-air missiles in a combat exercise, demonstrating the anti-aircraft and anti-missile strength of the Chinese Navy's strongest destroyer, and strengthening the East Sea Fleet's ability to carry out maritime missions in the Taiwan Strait and the East China Sea. Compared with the 052C, guided missile destroyers equipped by the East China Sea Fleet, the air defense capability of the 055 large drive has allowed the fleet to make great strides in survivability in high-risk waters. 50 TOD guided missile destroyer only, 64 vertical missile launchers, but also leave enough missile launchers to load anti-ship missiles and land attack cruise missiles. Firepower density cannot meet the needs of the high-intensity battlefield. The 055 destroyer has 112 vertical launchers loaded with 64 Haihonki 9B long-range ship-to-air missiles, but also can be mixed with 64 anti-ship missiles and land attack cruise missiles. The 055 destroyer has a lot more than the 052D. The 052D has a lot more than the 052D. The firepower density greatly exceeds that of the 052D. 052C and the introduced Russian-made Type 956 guided missile destroyers. Due to the special location of the East Sea Fleet, the threat of serious enemy, the Navy has not been equipped with aircraft carriers and attack nuclear submarines and other combat platforms for the East Sea Fleet to a certain extent, limiting the fleet's combat potential. For the East Sea Fleet, perhaps the new 10,000 tons of large drive is the most suitable naval equipment. The East China Sea Fleet's 2 major destroyer detachments, or will be equipped with 2 055 destroyers, which allows the 2 major destroyer detachments to get a substantial increase in strength. In recent years, the Chinese Navy's progress is obvious to all. 055 big drive one after another in service. The Navy quickly grew into the Asia-Pacific region the strength of the strongest sea arm. 055 big drive for the first time to let the Chinese Navy mastered the absolute advantage of the sea struggle. opened in neighboring countries' naval strength of the technology gap. A type of advanced weapons and equipment cannot fundamentally change the contrast of military power. Modern warfare is a confrontation between the system. The development of China's navy is the result of the progress of the system. China has walked out of a modern manufacturing industry as the core of the modernization of the road to establish the world's strongest industrial system and national defense industry. The materials, electronics, radar, shipbuilding, weaponry and other historical areas of comprehensive breakthroughs for the Chinese Navy's takeoff to create a strong foundation has been created for the Chinese Navy to take off. Naval aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, air defense destroyers, anti-submarine frigates and a large number of domestic advanced combat ships have been put into service, in one fell swoop, a regional backward navy into the world's second strongest naval force. In the process of 055 destroyer is also the inevitable result of the modernization of national defense.